I go by the Praetorian on WordPress. Roger Hansen on Google Plus, or Roger Hansen 1969 at gmail.com. A couple days ago I did a video that spoke about alternative media, and it also talked about, commentators on YouTube that get on YouTube and they like to dramatize and create a lot of flair. They get emotional, start acting all crazy and insinuate things. Now, instead of those people doing their job, what they do is they contract out to other people to take care of those properties. And this is when these people were contracted to do that job. Instead of doing their job, they pocketed the money. They didn't put any money into the repairs. People don't seem to pay attention and notice that until something bad happens. And that's basically what happened. When something bad like this happens, instead of noticing the obvious and saying, look, we have a failed welfare state system that doesn't work, they just start talking about conspiracy theory. That once you start down that path where you rely on welfare and you rely on a welfare state, society, to do things for you, then you're taking a risk. Hello everybody, this is Roger Hansen, and I'd like to welcome you back to the Praetorian. This is another part of the story that I started concerning eugenics, the history of eugenics. Now, the Nazi Germany, Nazi propaganda for their compulsory euthanasia program. This person suffering from hereditary defects could cost the community 60,000 Reichmarks during his lifetime. Fellow Germans felt that this was their money too, and they felt that they don't stand alone. They didn't stand alone. They had posters and flags and everything all posted up all over the place, and in like 1936, and it was they had a compulsory sterilization, legalization. Nazi Germany under Adolf Hitler was infamous for eugenics programs, which attempted to maintain a pure German race through a series of programs that ran under the banner of racial hygiene. Among other activities, the Nazis performed extensive experimentation on live human beings to test their genetic theories, ranging from simple measurements of physical characteristics to the experiments carried out by Joseph Mengele or Ottmar von Verscher on twins in the concentration camps. During the 1930s and 1940s, the Nazi regime forcibly sterilized hundreds of thousands of people whom they viewed as mentally and physically unfit, an estimated 400,000 between 1934 and 1937. The scale of the Nazi program prompted one American eugenic advocate to seek an expansion of their program, with one complaining that the Germans are beating us at our own game. The Nazis went further, however, killing tens of thousands of the institutionalized disabled through compulsory euthanasia programs. They also implemented a number of positive eugenics policies giving awards to Aryan women who had a large number of children and encouraged a service in which racially pure single women could deliver illegitimate children. Allegations that such women were also impregnated by SS officers in the Lebensborn are common, but unproven. Also, racially valuable children from occupied countries were forcibly removed from their parents and adopted by German people. Many of their concerns for eugenics and racial hygiene were also explicitly presented in their systematic killing of millions of undesirables, people including Jews, Gypsies, Jehovah's Witnesses, and homosexuals during the Holocaust, much of the euthanasia program. The scope and coercion involved in the German eugenics program, along with a strong use of the rhetoric of eugenics and so-called racial science throughout the regime created an incredible cultural association between eugenics and the Third Reich in the post-war years. Some researchers, such as John Glad, have questioned the relationship between eugenics and the Holocaust. They argue that, contrary to popular belief, Hitler did not regard the Jews as intellectually inferior and did not send them to the concentration camps on these grounds. In fact, in the 1930s, Germans regarded the Jews as a highly talented people. Hitler had different reasons for his genocidal policies towards the Jews. Seymour W. Itzkoff writes that the Holocaust was a vast dysgenetic program to rid Europe of highly intelligent challenges to the existing Christian domination by a numerically and politically minuscule minority. Therefore, according to Itzkoff, the Holocaust was the very antithesis of eugenics practice. However, this proposition is not supported by most researchers. Hitler did regard Jews as being intelligent, but also considered them inferior in all other ways, morally, spiritually, artistically, and physically. In his view, their intelligence enabled them to thrive, but only by undermining and perverting the civilization of other races. The extensive Nazi propaganda comparing Jews to plagues of rats demonstrated that the Holocaust was indeed a eugenics program in its conception. Eugenics in the United States between 1890 and 1945. One of the earliest modern advocates of eugenics, before it was labeled as such, was Alexander Graham Bell. In 1881, Bell investigated the rate of deafness on Martha's Vineyard, Massachusetts. From this, he concluded that deafness was hereditary in nature, and through noting that congenitally deaf parents were more likely to produce deaf children, tentatively suggested that couples who both were deaf should not marry. In his lecture, Memoir upon the formation of a deaf variety of the human race, presented to the National Academy of Science on 13 November 1883. However, it was his hobby of livestock breeding which led to his appointment to biologist David Starr Jordan's Committee on Eugenics under the auspices of the American Breeders Association. The committee unequivocally extended the principle to man. Like many other early eugenics, Bell proposed controlling immigration for the purposes of eugenics, and warning that boarding schools for the deaf could possibly be considered as breeding places of a deaf human race. Eugenics was supported by Woodrow Wilson and, in 1907, helped to make Indiana the first of more than 30 states to adopt legislation aimed at compulsory sterilization of certain individuals. Although the law was overturned by the Indiana Supreme Court in 1921, the U.S. Supreme Court upheld the constitutionality of a Virginia law allowing for compulsory sterilization of patients of state mental institutions in 1927. Beginning with Connecticut in 1896, many states enacted marriage laws with eugenic criteria prohibiting anyone who was epileptic, imbecile, or feeble-minded from marrying. In 1898, Charles B. Davenport, a prominent American biologist, began as director of a biological research station based in Cold Springs Harbor, where he experimented with evolution in plants and animals. In 1904, Davenport received funds from the Carnegie Institute to found the Station for Experimental Evolution. The Eugenics Records Office opened in 1910, while Davenport and Harry H. Laughlin began to promote eugenics. I go by the Praetorian on WordPress. Roger Hansen on Google Plus, or Roger Hansen 1969 at gmail.com. A couple days ago I did a video that spoke about alternative media, and it also talked about, commentators on YouTube that get on YouTube and they like to dramatize and create a lot of flair. They get emotional, start acting all crazy, and insinuate things. Now, instead of those people doing their job, what they do is they contract out to other people to take care of those properties. And this is when these people are contracted to do that job. Instead of doing their job, they pocketed the money. They didn't put any money into the repairs. People don't seem to pay attention and notice that until something bad happens. And that's basically what happens. When something bad like this happens, instead of noticing the obvious and saying, look, we have a failed welfare state system that doesn't work, they just start talking about conspiracy theory. That once you start down that path where you rely on welfare and you rely on a welfare state society to do things for you, then you're taking a risk.